This is a video in which we demonstrate the use of the equation editor in Microsoft Word. So this is the second such video. We did a simple example in a previous video, and in this example we're just going to do the same thing. You're going to see a few different types of math that we can create in Microsoft Word. So again, we have a PDF file of an already completed document up here, and down here we have Microsoft Word, and we're going to try to recreate that. Okay, so theorem if, and now what we need to type is absolute value of r less than 1. Alt equals puts us into the equation editor. For an absolute value line, on most keyboards it's the backslash key. It's shift backslash. There's a vertical line character there. Okay, and then R, and then a second vertical line character. And now, if you watch closely, when I hit the space bar, it'll actually just reformat it slightly. I think the absolute value lines will get a little bit bigger, or at least get shifted upward. And so it's recognizing that there is a pair of bars and that they should be interpreted as absolute values, and so the equation editor will just tweak it and make it look right. Okay, less than 1. Right arrow key takes us out of the equation editor, so that we can type regular text. Okay, so now we come to a series. So this is the most complicated math we've had to type so far. Alt equals for the equation editor. For the sigma, we do backslash sum. Now, the I equals 0 is actually kind of typed in the same way as a subscript, and the infinity is typed the same way as a superscript. Now superscripts are like power, so that's going to be done with the caret. The subscript is going to be done with an underscore. So here's what I'm going to type. I'm going to type underscore. Now notice, as soon as I type that, the backslash sum already turned into my sigma, so that's good. Now, because my lower limit is I equals 0, which is more than one character, I actually need to put it into parentheses so that the equation editor knows that all of that should be part of the subscript, and so it should be in the lower limit of the series. Those parentheses will disappear in just a second, and now caret for the superscript, and I want an infinity symbol, and backslash infty is how we create that. And now I'm going to hit the space bar, and both the subscript and the superscript, oh well, the superscript just turned into the infinity, but now if I hit space bar again, there we go. Everything moves to the right place. And you notice we have a little block for what is to be summed. So everything that goes in this, everything that I type now is sort of associated with this series until I get out of it. So a r to the I. So a r caret I. Spacebar will complete that. Okay. Now if I hit the right arrow key once, I'm still in equation editor. What that did is it moved me out of the sum. So now I could still type math, but technically that's outside of the sum. Okay. But actually I'm done with all my math for that little section, so I hit the right arrow key again to leave the equation editor. All right. Now the next thing I want to type is this what's called display math. This is math that's completely on its own line, and notice that it's bigger. So you don't have to do anything special. If we hit enter, or actually in this case I'm going to hit shift enter, which is, that has nothing to do with the equation editor. That's actually just a little Microsoft Word technique. Shift enter moves you to the next line, but it doesn't start an official new paragraph. Because sometimes, in fact usually by default, starting a new paragraph will add a little bit of vertical space, and we sometimes don't want that. And we don't want that here. Okay, but so now I'm on my own line, a new line, and if I hit Alt equals, you see that it's centered, and it's going to be typed a little bit bigger. This is display math. So whenever you do the equation editor on a line that has no other text, it will be displayed as display math. It'll be centered, it'll be larger. All right, so I'm going to start the same way, \sum underscore parentheses I equals 0 and parentheses caret \infty. One spacebar converts the infinity. One more spacebar puts the superscript and subscript in the right places. AR caret I spacebar. Okay, now I am going to hit the right arrow key because I'm done with my sum. You can see it's shaded gray. That indicates that I'm still inside the sum, so to speak. But if I hit the arrow key, I am now outside of it. And now that equals. Okay, and then I want A/. Now, here's another case where I think we want to use parentheses. If I just did 1 minus r, you see what it did. It figured the 1 was the denominator. It finished that fraction, and then it just typed minus r. Okay, but if I do A/, and now if I do parentheses 1 minus r, close parentheses, and then if I hit spacebar, it knows that the whole 1 minus r bit was the whole denominator. And notice the parentheses went away. The equation editor recognizes that those parentheses were just a message to it to tell it what to include in the denominator. Okay. Now, one more interesting thing here. Notice there's a period at the end, which grammatically there should be. Usually periods are not included in the equation editor because they're text, they're not part of the math. So normally, what I would normally do is hit the right arrow key to leave the equation editor, and then I would hit a period. But notice what happens. As soon as I hit that period, Word thinks, oh, there's text on this line, so this is not supposed to be display math. Remember, display math is only when you have just an equation, just some math, without any text on the line. So that's not what we wanted. So if I hit backspace and get rid of that period, okay, it's back to being display math. And what I do here, there might be a better way to do this, but I just kind of cheat. And I go back in to the equation editor, and I put my period there. Periods, look the same whether they're in equation editor mode or text mode, so it kind of doesn't matter. But this way, Word still thinks that there's no text on this line. Okay. Great. All right, so now, continuing, suppose, all right, so again, alt equals vertical line r vertical line spacebar less than 1. Right arrow key to leave the equation editor mode, and then a period. See, this is inline mathematics, so I'm going to go back to the normal way of doing things and not include the period inside the math. All right, so let, then alt equals, we want s sub n, so s underscore n. This is sort of a more traditional, just underscore being used as a subscript. Space makes it look correct. Right arrow key, space. Denote the nth partial sum of the geometric series. Oops. In other words. And again, we're going to have some display math. We're going to have some math that's totally on its own line. So I'm going to hit Shift-Enter to start a new line. Alt equals, and I'm ready to type my math. So s underscore n spacebar equals \sum underscore parentheses I equals 0 parentheses. Those parentheses will go away when it gets formatted. Caret n and then spacebar. AR caret I spacebar. Again, right arrow key to leave the sum, but I'm still in the equation editor. Equals A plus AR plus AR caret 2 spacebar plus. Now we want 3 dots right here, And there's somewhere in here, either in here or here, you can find it. But I actually know I know it by the keyboard way to do it, which is \C dots, so centered dots. And then I hit spacebar. There you go. So they are vertically centered. If I had just done ... oh, that works too, actually. Oh, I'm learning something. Okay. AR:\n, spacebar. And again, I have this period. If I put the period outside of the equation editor, which is what I would normally do, I lose the display mode. So I'm going to go back into the equation editor and put my period there, kind of cheat. All right. Shift Enter. Then R, C dot for a single dot, S_n equals AR plus AR. I'm hitting spacebar after each of these. Plus, now \C dots. Oops, no S in there. C dots. Okay, plus AR caret parentheses n plus 1. Spacebar, the parentheses go away. Leave equation editor with the right arrow key, period. Subtracting, okay. Oh yeah, for the next few lines, there's not going to be anything very new. If you want to fast forward, that would be fine. But there is something a little bit later on that I want to show you. Okay, S_n space minus R S_n space equals A minus A R caret n plus 1 parentheses space. Actually, here's something of interest. Notice that as I type this last bit of math, this little equation here, we started a new line after the equals. So the equation editor will do that automatically. Usually you don't want that. Usually you want an equation like that to be all on its own line. So now this is not anything specific to equation editor, but I think I might just put in a shift enter right here, and so that it starts, so that that whole equation is together on one line. Okay, which implies, let me raise this up a bit. That's where we are. Okay. Okay, shift enter for some display math on its own line. Alt equals S_n equals. All right. Now I have got, this is going to be the most complicated fraction we've had to write so far. I could include parentheses around the whole top and then on the bottom as well. Let me show you just another technique. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to type the slash and I'm going to hit spacebar. So that's like a fraction that doesn't have a numerator or denominator yet. And then once that's already been created, I can now go back using my arrow keys and just type what I want. So A parentheses 1 minus R to the parentheses n plus 1 space and then parentheses. Okay, and notice right here that pair of parentheses that I have written and that I want displayed. If I hit spacebar right now, watch the parentheses. Oh, they didn't do anything. I thought they would get a little bit bigger, but yeah, I guess that's the same as up here. Okay. Equation editor felt that those parentheses were already the appropriate size. Sometimes when you have math that kind of extends vertically a little bit more, when you hit spacebar at the end, it'll make the parentheses bigger to make it look better. It didn't do it that time. Okay. Once again, period inside the equation editor just to keep it from thinking there's text on the line. Now I'll leave, shift enter. Okay. Again, even a single variable, it's math, it's a math symbol, so we want it in italics, we want it in equation editor. Okay. Now I'm going to hit a regular enter because it seems like we're starting a new paragraph here, so a little bit of space. Now, since alt equals. All right, so vertical bar, R, vertical bar, space, less than 1, right arrow key. All right, now we have a limit. So, alt equals, okay. Again, well, not again, but you can use, there are some built-in functions like this, lim right here, so we can use that. Or you can type it in yourself. Let me just use this. I'll just hit this button. Okay, so I have to do a left arrow key to actually get back into those blank boxes. All right, n arrow infinity, n. Now, for that arrow, I think you can find that arrow in here somewhere. But yeah, probably in here. There it is. There you go. Or actually, if you're going to be typing arrows a lot, if you just do a hyphen and then a greater than symbol, it knows to put them together and make an arrow. I didn't even have to hit space for that. And then \infty space for infinity. Now I'm going to right arrow key out of that and then again over into that block. And what am I taking the limit of? R space bar. Okay. Now right arrow key to leave the limit. My limit is done, and then that equals 0. And a right arrow key to leave the whole equation editor. Okay. So I think the rest of this is things we've already seen. They're just repeating things. So I'll stop there with this video.